What if I told you that I handed over my entire digital backup system, years of photos work? Files, notes, videos, receipts, app data, and everything else that lives across iCloud, Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive, and local drives to artificial intelligence and just let it run the show? Elephant no. 1. How much does all this cost? Well, you'll be surprised. The core of this backup system is free or freemium software and AI services. The paid tiers kicked in for me mostly on storage costs, but those are reasonable considering the value. Here's a quick breakdown. Elephant no. 2. Isn't this a huge privacy and security risk? I'm giving I control of my entire file system. How could this be secure? Here's how I address the security risks and privacy concerns. First, I use end-to-end encryption wherever possible, especially for sensitive data. This means that only I have the keys to decrypt and access my files, even if they're being processed or stored on someone else's servers. Second, I leverage the principle of least privilege. This means that I give AI access to my files only for the specific tasks that it needs to perform. For example, if I'm using AI to summarize text, I don't give it access to my entire file system. I only give it access to the text that needs to be summarized. Third, I use trusted sources. I only use reputable software and services from well-known companies that have a track record of security and privacy best practices. I also make sure to keep my software up to date to patch any vulnerabilities as soon as they're rediscovered. Fourth, I implement multi-factor authentication everywhere. This means that I use 2 or more forms of authentication, such as a password and a one-time code, to verify my identity before I can access my accounts. Fifth, I regularly audit my systems. I regularly review my backups and test them to make sure that they're working properly and that my data is secure. I also review the permissions that I've given to different applications and services to make sure that they are still necessary and appropriate. Sixth, I diversify my storage. I store my data in multiple locations to reduce the risk of data loss. For example, I use a combination of cloud storage and local hard drives to back up my data. I also use services that have data centers in different geographic locations to further diversify my storage. Seventh, I have insurance. While it's important to take all possible precautions to protect your data, it's also wise to have a backup plan in case something goes wrong. This could include things like purchasing data breach insurance or using services that offer data recovery options. By taking these precautions, I significantly reduce the risk of privacy breaches and data loss. And I can confidently use AI to help me manage my digital assets. Thanks for watching. Smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more tech challenges, future experiments, and real talk from TechWave 65. That's exactly what I did. I set out to automate every part of my cloud backup workflow using a combination of smart AI agents, automation platforms, tagging tools, semantic search, and file syncing logic. No more dragging and dropping files manually. No more checking if folders were up to date. No more reminders to back up this or that. I wanted to know, could AI actually manage backups better than I can? And more importantly, what would go wrong if I let it take over? So I started with the goal. Build an automated, intelligent backup system that captures everything I create, or touch photos, screenshots, documents, audio notes, code files, invoices, saved web pages, PDF, and sends it to the right place at the right time, with smart versioning, compression, and tagging. First, I had to map my cloud ecosystem. I use iCloud for iPhone data and notes, Google Drive for collaboration, OneDrive for PC sync, Dropbox for long-term archives, and Cloud for raw video. That's 5 platforms with different rules, storage limits, folder logic, and APIs. Then, I used multi-cloud to unify all of them under one interface so I could monitor and schedule transfers between them. From there, I pulled in Zapier, Make, Calm, and Apple shortcuts to create logic like, when I save a new screenshot on iPhone, send 2 iCloud photos greater than run OCR, greater than add summary to Notion, greater than upload to Google Drive, in screenshots folder greater than tag as hash visual idea. But things escalated. I added OpenAI's GPT 4.0 and Claude 3 Opus 2 auto-label and describe each file. Every PDF I saved was summarized. Every voice note I recorded was transcribed and linked to the day's journal. Every document received a semantic vector, making it searchable by meaning instead of file name. Soon, I had AI detecting patterns. It grouped together receipts, noticed which files I accessed most, and began prefetching them across devices before I even asked. I connected Notion AI to my system to auto-link files with related tasks or project boards. I used SyncThing and rclone to run local backups between my MacBook and external SSDs, with AI-generated folder naming based on content. I even let ChatGPT plugins access my file system to fetch, summarize, and link files across different apps. On the surface, it was magical. My backups ran themselves. I never forgot to upload anything. My cloud folders were tagged and searchable. Files had summaries, project associations, and timestamps. And I could literally ask, where's that picture I edited with blue tones last week that I used in the thumbnail? And the AI found it, summarized it, and opened it. But then the cracks started showing. First, duplication hell. Because I had multiple services syncing files and AI autocopying backups, I ended up with dozens of duplicates, same file in Drive, iCloud, Dropbox, and Cloud. Worse, some were slightly different versions, modified seconds apart. AI tried to help by renaming files with timestamps and summaries, but that only made it harder to visually detect duplicates. So I brought in Gemini 2 and Cleandra to scan and clean duplicates with hash matching and file heuristics. It helped, but I had to supervise. Then came overwriting conflicts. One AI rule would back up a file after summarizing it, while another would compress it before upload. Sometimes the compressed version overwrote the original. I lost one client invoice because of an auto-compression rule I forgot to turn off. That S when I added versioning logic using Dropbox Pro and Google Drive Advanced. Settings to ensure that all AI-modified files kept a backup of the original. Next issue? Too much intelligence, not enough wisdom. AI tagged and sorted files in ways that were technically correct but humanly frustrating. It grouped unrelated files based on shared keywords, like putting a YouTube thumbnail with a finance report just because they both mentioned growth. I had to retrain the tagging models and teach them contextual separation using vector similarity limits. I also learned that AI doesn't understand why something is important unless you train it. I started using metadata injection, where I add priority labels to key files so AI knows they matter, more project _ pitch, income _ proof, critical _ backup, etc. Another issue: cloud storage limits. As AI kept backing up everything, voice memos, app caches, image drafts, I quickly ran out of space. My Google Drive was full in 2 weeks. So I added logic to auto-archive files older than 30 days to cold storage on Backblaze B2, and I used Wasabi for low-cost video storage. AI also began compressing images, zipping folders, and even generating file previews before upload to save bandwidth. Then there was the privacy and security problem. My backups now contained everything: medical files, personal notes, photos, contracts, and AI agents had access. I realized I needed zero-knowledge encryption before upload. I added Cryptomator to encrypt files on the fly and trained my AI to handle encrypted blob naming conventions, so I could still search without decrypting the actual content. Finally, there was the human problem. I didn't always remember what the AI was doing. I lost a file once and assumed it was gone, only to find it archived, compressed, summarized, and renamed by AI. It took 20 minutes to trace the steps. So I built a backup journal where the AI logs everything it does. Every file it touches, backs up, renames, summarizes, or deletes, with timestamps and links. Now I can say, what did the system back up yesterday? Get a full log. After 30 days of testing, I had built an AI-powered backup system that ran across 5 clouds, 3 local drives, and 2 archive services. It summarized, tagged, encrypted, deduplicated, compressed, and logged every action. It made mistakes, but it learned, and so did I. The biggest lesson: AI can automate your backups, but it can't care about your files the way you do. You still need to teach it what matters. You still need to set limits. Most importantly, you still need to look under the hood. But once you do, you unlock a backup system that works like magic. It protects your digital life, organizes your chaos, and makes everything retrievable forever. But before we end, I want to address 2 elephant-sized questions in the room.